Back in the day, the Porsche 911 Turbo was known as the Widowmaker. It was one of the very fastest cars on the planet, but it had a little bit of a reputation. And so now we have this car, a new Porsche 911 Turbo S, and this car will go from 0 to 60 in the same time as a Ferrari LaFerrari. It will take us to over 200 miles per hour, but what my lovely wife wants to know is it going to try and kill me? Watch this to find out.
So just before we head off, we must just take a moment to look at Porsche Chester's uncommonly large stock of 911s. And most other Porsche models for that matter. Maybe let me know which one you'd take home. If a GT3 is all about involvement, noise and motorsport-derived gratification, a Turbo S is about something very different. It's for those who like to travel really quickly, but with a minimal driver effort while at the same time feeling safe, secure and comfortable. However, the Turbo wasn't always this supremely resolved, warp speed GT kind of car. The first Porsche Turbo was a terrifying thing in the wrong hands. It would stare down at other sports cars and leave its rivals standing at the traffic lights. It would think nothing of roughing up the Ferraris of the day, tearing past them with a hissing rush of air from its turbochargers. It earned its killer reputation not long after it was unveiled back in 1974. Back then it was rear-wheel drive only and didn't suffer fools gladly. Driving it at speed was no mean feat, and one miscalculation could send you spinning rearwards into the scenery. Today though, the Turbo is tamed. Porsche's inimitable approach to constant developing and making engineering improvements has given the world this technological masterclass. Just take a second or two to gaze upon a marvel of the modern sports car age. Viewed from any angle, latent intent stares back at us. The now classic rear air intake distinguishes it from a humble Carrera. Moving aerofoils like the rear wing and this lowering front splitter highlight the level of detail Porsche's engineers have taken this Turbo S to. And inside, the quality of this cabin is unimpeachable. Soft leather covered surfaces, aluminium forms the major controls, and the feel in here is one of reassuring quality. So, gently heading off with our car set in standard drive mode, you could be forgiven of thinking you've just dropped into a comfortable and rather agreeable high-end luxury saloon car. There's not a squeak or rattle, just refined forward progress. My favourite feature in here are the 18-way seats, which are swathed in supple leather and are perfectly supportive of my somewhat aging frame. Driving along in this car, it's starting to feel supernatural. I mean, did we just drive away in a Porsche 911 Turbo or a Panamera? In standard drive mode, this car is a limo and entirely suited to cruising these genteel Cheshire lanes. Road noise is always present, which is no surprise considering the size of those tyres, but otherwise the experience is smoothness, refinement and effortless progress. So give our Turbo S a tiny bit more of a push and you get a feel of positivity back from the controls and a sense of the grip, steering accuracy, sharp brakes and the seemingly limitless amount of forward urge. All these indications are a portent of things to come. So, should we find somewhere to mash the throttle pedal and unleash that 580 brake horsepower? Well, just by chance we've happened upon a closed road where we can safely engage launch control. Now, let's just try and recall those instructions. Right, number 1, select Sport Plus mode. Number 2, place one's foot firmly on the brake, and that's your left foot. Number 3, mash the right pedal hard into the floor. Hold one's breath and loose. And resume breathing. Little can prepare you for a 911 Turbo S's launch control in full swing. There's a crushing amount of traction at the rear wheels as the weight of its engine squats down and fires the Turbo S forward with a brutal force. This turbo is so fast it can get you to that point up the road before you've even left. 0 to 60 miles an hour takes the same time as it takes you to say 0 to 60 miles an hour. And the electronics, the differential and loads of other tech mean it's computer game easy to do. Fancy another launch? Oh, okay then. Our Turbo S missile officially does 0 to 60 miles an hour in 2.9 seconds. However, independent testers have recorded 2.5 seconds. I mean, that's faster than the McLaren Senna and Porsche's own 918 Spider hypercar, both of which cost about 5 times as much as this car. And this is a car you can put the children in the back seats. Okay, not recommended while launch controlling though. You know, it could get a bit messy. Back to cruising along, but this time keeping to highish revs. That flat 6 is growling, turbos are spooling, and you just know a simple press of the right foot will unleash hypercar worrying performance. Actually experiencing this level of performance from the driver's seat is quite something and is highly recommended. Turbo lag in this 991.2 model has been reduced to about nothing while driving in its sport modes, because during short periods off the throttle, its turbocharger's charge is maintained, meaning the engine's response is instant when jumping back on the throttle. A natural downside of having turbos is that the exhaust note doesn't sound anything like its wild sibling, the GT3. But to me, this refined approach to speed is how a hyper fast ground covering GT is meant to be. We can carve through corners like a giant slalom champion. This is partly thanks to those enormous tyres and the electromechanical four-wheel drive system, which carefully apportions torque just to where you need it. It's not exactly tail-end playful, but it does make you feel a much driver than you actually are. The electronic wizardry is welcomed by me, however. Some may say it's made this car seem a little bit of a numbers machine, refined and honed to an astonishing degree, yet somehow a little bit emotionally economical. It is a compromise, but for me it's a good compromise, and as a result our Turbo S is endlessly impressive, living in a niche that no other car that I know of comes even close to. Over the years, the 911 Turbo has morphed from an unpredictable, tricky handling creature into an all-wheel drive, all-weather monster which has almost as much grip as it is power. And you get 2 cars in one. Overtake 8 cars quicker than anything else, then relax watching all the others waving at you in appreciation of your driving skill. Have I found anything disappointing? Well, not until now, because sadly our brief moment in time together is over and I have to hand this remarkable machine back.
So without any doubt, the Porsche 911 Turbo S is one of the very fastest road cars on the planet. My own Porsche 911 GTS, a sibling to this very car, is now going to feel somewhat underpowered. So, should you buy one? Well, if you can, you really should. But if you can't, I wouldn't touch what you can't afford. So thanks for getting this far. If you've liked this video, maybe give it a thumbs up, and comments in the comment section below are always welcome. I read every single comment and reply to most. Perhaps if you haven't already, you might subscribe to the channel, and if you click that little notification bell, I'll send you another video.